Volva, I'm glad you're okay.
Oh, you got rid of that machine. But what are you doing here?
There's something inside Thebes that I need. I went to landfall. I met your CO. We came to an agreement, kind of.
And you're going to help us get in?
I guess so. The whole thing was a little tense. There was something off about that guy. And I don't understand what he wants from Thebes. I thought we found the data that your people needed back on the mainland.
That data will take us years to sift through. The CO wants faster results. Aloy, you have to be careful.
There they are. The legacy tells us that Elizabeth Sobek helped the ancestors cast aside all obstacles. And so it has been today.
You have been true to your word. I'm pleased. Thebes awaits us below, shall we?
It feels like we're gonna get betrayed or
Quite an
something.
excavation.
Much of this was flooded. We had to pump a great deal of water out.
I mean, I wouldn't cry over it if you had to.
Behold, the door to Thebes.
A door like no other.
Well, you're right about that. It's designed to open for only one man. Ted Faro.
But the legacy tells us that he worked closely with Sobek. He trusted her. Surely she could open the door, and so surely can you.
Not gonna happen. At least not from this side.
You said she was a living ancestor with Sobek's eternal essence.
If I may, Faro, great as he was, did not build his palace alone. We know this from scraps of data we found, the ones that pointed to this location. And we found evidence of passages below. Maybe they were built to aid construction. Or for servants. We can't reach them. The way is flooded and they're too far underwater, but...
Yeah. I can reach them. There might be another way in down there.
You see? With Sobek, there is always a way.
Then do what you must to get us inside.
That guy seems full of it. I just want to put an arrow in him. Or a few. Or a whole quiver.
This water's warm. That's rare. Look at that thing. It's huge. It goes all the way down to the bottom.
Lava. There's something up here. Do.
There's a rupture up there. Maybe a way in. Yeah, this could get me inside. Okay, looks like this tunnel leads deeper into the structure.
Hurry through.
Stop the turbine around here somewhere. Stop the turbine. Good.
Why can't I? Move. Yeah, I was stuck.
Okay, I'm inside, but how do I let the coin in?
Hey, we're in the gym. Hey, hello, time to work out.
Looks like an exercise room?
Here I am again. Hiding in the gym. Writing to stay sane in this crazy place. I can't believe Grigori's dead. Our so-called spiritual leader was fine yesterday, and then suddenly passed away in his sleep, and no one will talk to me about it. They treat me like a child, whispering behind my back, as if I can't cope with death, even after the end of the world.
So Ted had other people in here with him, including a teenage girl.
Maybe his daughter?
The living area. It's pretty big, too.
There's nothing normal about a scientist, his daughter, a guru, and well, let's face it, a harem living through the end times in a trillionaire's underground survival bunker. But now that Grigori's gone, I'm worried things will get even weirder.
So I can let the
He
queen
helped keep Ted stable for a couple of years, sort of. Without him, who knows? And we don't even understand what happened to him.
Girl's right. Nothing normal about Ted.
I know everyone's reeling after Grigori's untimely demise. He was a deeply spiritual man who wasn't afraid to rip back the curtain and gaze where few men dare. I've asked Dr. Sumtow to, check on what happened to him. Sure he had some kind of condition or something. The main point is that while we certainly miss him, we will go on. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, something tells me it didn't turn out that way. Look at this place. It's pretty fancy for a survival bunker.
Most of Ted's women repulse me,
There,
okay?
the door.
They're like contestants
Like
on a
you open it from the
housewife sim
inside.
preening for the hubby's attention. But Brianna, the hollow singer, she's different. She's always been nice to me. And I love her voice, which has been conspicuously silent since Grigori died. She doesn't speculate or gossip like the others. She knows something. I can tell. And I'm gonna find out what it is.
Ah, good. An emergency exit function.
Emergency exit.
The door is open. Destiny is upon us. I knew you could do it.
What's going on?
The CO is preparing to enter Thebes.
Oh, why are you dressed like Ted Faro?
I am Faro, renewed. My essence is the same as his. Across the years, across the generations. His soul is my soul. His will is my will. We are sundered in only one way. I need his final testament, his deepest secrets. And now that the door is open, those secrets are within my grasp. When I have them, I will be complete, as he was. I will have everything I need to save our homeland, and, as Faro did, the world.
Okay. I think there's some confusion here about who Faro really was.
No one knows better than I who he was, who he is. Me. The Renewer, greatest of the ancestors, the man who saved the world. And you. You understand, Sobek. You are her, Pharaoh's harbinger, his assistant. Come, we will descend into Thebes together, as it should be. Bring her the raiment.
Raymond?
As he is Pharaoh, you are Sobek. For an occasion this momentous, shouldn't you wear proper business attire?
Whoa. No, 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 no. No, I am not wearing that. No way.
You will wear the proper attire to mark this moment.
Or what?
It is said Sobek valued life above all else. Is this true?
Fine. I'll wear your raiment.
You could easily just kill everybody. You kill several machines at the same time, but you can't kill these people, huh?
Excellent. Shall we proceed? Look at this place. The grandeur.
Pharaoh's domain. Simply breathtaking.
Excellent. Somewhere in here, Pharaoh left his secrets. Let's go find them.
Your Magnificence, perhaps we should leave guard behind to cover our heads.
Indeed. Let it be done. Pharaoh's visage, a monument to greatness.
True.
Holy crap.
It's a monument to something, I'll give you that.
Brianna didn't wake up this morning. She's gone. Just like Grigori. I'm looking up at the giant, hideous statue of Ted in the Great Hall.
For this, my
His
secret.
eyes. And I know now that he's watching me. He's watching us all. He's always had power over us. I just never knew how much.
Did you discover some data?
I think this way might lead down.
Excellent.
It's okay, we can kill him anyway.
Remember every detail of his Gohan for posterity.
It will be its own chapter.
I mean, he can have an accident, you know?
Why to palace?
With an arrow in his forehead.
No less than he deserved.
Of course, Your Honor.
Or a spear.
Brianna told me that Grigori hacked into restricted files and found out something awful. That Ted murdered important people who worked on Zero Dawn. Did Ted punish Grigori? Kill him for discovering what he did? How could that be? Dad said there wasn't a mark on Grigori's body. His heart just gave out.
Find anything interesting?
I can't make sense of it yet. So hey, this is weird.
Yeah, I tried to warn you.
Yeah, sort of.
I'll explain everything if we survive long enough.
Those certainly look threatening.
Ah, statues. The guardians of Faro's domain.
They are real.
Those aren't statues. Look out!
Get the CO out of here!
Guess it's just us then. Happy to see me?
Oh, what the heck?
The diviner is down. Help the diviner.
Just let it take you.
I'm not giving up.
What the heck? Yeah, I probably can switch though. I probably should do that. I probably can switch armor though. A little bit odd otherwise. That is one heck of a spot to just throw you instantly with two of them. Nope. You can't switch outfit right now. What the heck did that one mean? Jesus. A good thing they were up there. And our butt would have been
Well fought.
very dead.
Thanks.
Brianna didn't wake up this morning.
See your bohai.
He has
gone.
decided to return to the surface.
Just like Grigori.
A wise choice.
And looking
Can't
up at the
afford to
giant,
lose any more diviners than
hideous
necessary.
statue of Ted in the
So,
Great Hall.
no more delays. We must
His
proceed.
eye.
Heard that one. Get away from me. Stalking me.
Yes, that looks like the way.
Yes, that. Please say that I get to kill him.
When I built this place, when its special systems were designed, I knew what I wanted. Protection, of course. An unlimited power source, that was a given. But also... control. Over every possible eventuality.
Nobody will
After
know.
all, you never know what'll happen, especially when the human element is involved.
What did you find?
Trust me. You don't want to know.
I guess I don't.
Ever deeper we go. What is that? A reclining throne attached to some kind of apparatus. I wonder what it does. An impressive setup. What is it for?
I'm sorry, CO. I don't know. My focus can't read the data here.
What about the living ancestor? Is the data lost to her?
My data isn't lost. Sparing your head is gonna make you lost.
Scan the device, if you will.
You did this for him? You put, like, off switches in everyone's heads?
Kenya, you mustn't judge me. I had no choice.
scan the
If I
device.
said no, what would he do to us? What would he do to you? You're my little girl. I was...
Did you find a recording, Aloy?
Yeah. I'll share it with you later.
Tell me what your focus reveals about the device.
I want that to end though.
You did this for him?
Same button as
You put,
looting.
like, off switches in everyone's heads?
Kenya, you mustn't judge me. I had no choice. If I
Scan
said
the device,
no, what
if you
would he
will.
do to us?
Yeah,
What
scan
would
it.
he do to you? You're my little girl. I was trying to keep you alive.
For what, Dad? Seriously, why? So we can be trapped in this underground nightmare?
Please, scan the device.
You know what we have to do. Please.
Made a minor adjustment to the gene therapy regimen and added a new cocktail to treat the symptoms caused by the mutations. Hopefully, there will be some stabilization after the next treatment. God knows what Ted'll do to us if there isn't. The early results were so promising. No signs of aging, no cellular degeneration, but now... Oh, if only I had access to my old lab in Bangkok, or my old colleagues, or my old liquor cabinet. Stop it. Got to stay positive. For Kenya.
You saw something. I could tell. Did the data explain what Faro used this device for?
I think he was undergoing treatments to live longer. A lot longer.
Really? Could he still be alive?
Don't be foolish. If he were alive, he would have kept his essence. It would not have been passed down to me. Remember, he was the renewer. Of course, he would have stopped at nothing to grasp the secrets of life and death. But not for himself. Everything he did was for a new beginning. For us, for the Quen.
Yeah, exactly, digging.
And for his true heir, me.
You know, I'm starting to think you're right. You do have a lot in common with Ted Faro.
I knew you would see, in time. Let us continue. His secrets await.
He didn't get that there was not an was a real insult and nothing else.
Is that a small office? For a minor functionary, perhaps?
An automated geothermal energy plant right under the city of San Francisco. A marvel. Even I can run it, and let's face it, I was always more of a visionary than an engineer. Which is why I had the foresight to insist on the inclusion of a very unique feature. Just in case anyone ever tries to steal my cheese, so to speak.
Look at all this equipment. We are getting closer to the heart of this place. I can feel it.
Steal my cheese. I mean, something, it feels like something's gonna happen at the end though.
Break the door down.
I'm going to look for another way in.
Good idea. It's worked before.
Very well. Get to it. Did she make it to the other side?
Did she? I don't know. Loot first. Feels like there's gonna be some combat in here.
A console. Maybe I can access Ted's files from here. There. Omega clearance. Got it. What do you have to say for yourself, Ted?
Somtown's dead, along with his kid. Found him on the floor of his office this morning, holding hands. Must have poisoned themselves. I never would have put them to sleep. She was just a girl, for Christ's sake. I offered them life, and this is how they repaid me, by leaving me all alone. But I guess I've been alone since this whole thing began. Alone in bearing the burden. For the past. For the future.
Same old Ted. No matter who dies, he's the one feeling sorry for himself.
Plus his future. Plus his children. Someday they'll come, and I'll be here to greet them. Sometimes said my aging has stopped altogether. If anything, my cells are replenishing faster than normal.
He is still alive.
I just need some time for the mutations to calm down. Time. And energy. Sometimes the reactor can give me what I need to grow strong again. To get my shit back together. So I can greet the kids. They're gonna need me. My advice. My guidance. And then I won't be alone anymore.
Faro's secrets. Are they here?
Not the ones you're looking for.
Then they must be in there.
Trust me. You don't want to go in there.
Are you mad? I haven't come all this way to stop now.
Death to the CEO, yes! Gonna get slapped silly now.
At last, Faro's legacy is mine. Is that?
It's him.
Burn it to ash.
Wait, no. Faro has it rigged to melt down if...
Kill them too. No witnesses.
We have to fight!
What the heck, man? Game.
Let's strike in unison!
Blood war?
rigged the reactor to overflow if he dies. We have to run.
Hey, CJ.
Into battle! That was a major hit! There's so much smoke! I can barely breathe! The whole place is shaking! Run! More soldiers up ahead! We have no choice! Lord, he won't kill me! Get her! Are you alright? Only one left! Get her! The ancestors show us the way!
These guys are done. Get moving.
That was the last one! I can barely breathe!
Hurry, sire!
Come on.
Out of my way! Ah! Ah!
Oh, come on, let me shoot him. Yes! Oh, come on, let me shoot him. Aww. I want to shoot him. Damn it, game, you robbed me. All of a sudden there were rocks in front of me. Ouch.
Soldiers, above us.
The Outlander's here! She's so fast! Go! Go!
Oh, that helps.
here.
Are you okay?
What happened?
We found something that will help. Not just your homeland, but everywhere.
But where's the CO?
He's gone. I guess you could say he gave his life to help us attain the secrets of Thebes.
I see. You must think I'm eminently stupid.
Well, you
What?
are.
No, no.
The CO was an entitled egotist who twisted our beliefs into a sickening, self-serving fantasy. And you expect me to believe he sacrificed himself for scraps of data? It's time for the truth, and it better be convincing. Otherwise, I'll simply order these soldiers to open fire.
Hold on. You're right. To be honest, the CO screwed everything up. He brought Thebes down around our ears and died like a gutless coward. But we really did find something down there that will help your homeland. If I can take it and use it. Now, if I have to, I will fight my way out of here, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can just let me go. And then take credit when things start to improve.
Success certainly does sound better than failure. It seems then that our destinies are intertwined. Landfall is open to you. If it will help your cause, you may come and go as you please. But Alva must join you and report back on your efforts.
Fair enough.
Thebes is of no further value to us. Obviously, we're going back to the flotilla. Alva, I expect your reports to be thorough.
Oh, I thought he was going to have us killed. And instead, I get to join you.
Glad to have you. But you're going to need a little help to reach our base. Varl, I made a new friend. I need you to meet her at the Quen Ferry and escort her back.
On it. Can't wait to meet her.
Trust me, you'll love it there. Varl will give you a better focus, and all the data you could ever want. Head to the ferry. I'll join you back east as soon as I can.
A diviner must follow the truth, wherever it leads. I'll see you there.
Okay. Bit of a hectic moment.
Now that I have Omega clearance, we should have what we need to capture Hephaestus. But before I head to the ferry, maybe I should stop by Landfall. With the CO gone, maybe more Quen will be willing to talk. Might be worth looking around the island, too. I gotta change out of these clothes.
I agree. Oops. Outfit.
I can't believe the CO made me play dress up.
Yeah, let's get our last Vista here. We add it. Got everything else here, so let's get the last Vista. Oops. Yeah, she didn't like that at all. Like she became a dressed up doll or something. We go back to that landfall and then we go back to base. How are you doing, CJ? Okay, we're here. We're progressing slowly but surely.
Okay, one more Vista Point image. A lot of towers in this one. It looks like it was taken from somewhere really high up.
It'll be over there. No, not too far out.
I can't override that machine until I find the right cauldron.
Wrong angle. What we need. I feel like that one indicates it is. Doesn't see how I can. Look like there's any climbing points on that one. Unless we have to get over there. It might be. No? Would be too far. far away. Something in camera? Is this inside?
My focus lost the vista point image. I must have moved too far.
Not here, no?
Could look around with my focus, try to match the vista point image. Wherever this image is taken, it was from somewhere which is the buildings. Get a better view from the top of that metal tower nearby, but it doesn't look like there's a way up there. Guess I should come back later.
See, no wait, we can maybe do this.
She's on to me. This image was taken. I think it was from somewhere almost as tall as the buildings. You get a better view from the top of that metal tower nearby, but it's way up there. Guess I should come back later.
What does it mean I should come back later, though? That's what I don't get. So we can't do this right now, then? Then we do it like this. We go and hand in back to base. Do 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 do. Oops. Don't know what we need to do to be able to get up there, but obviously. Seems like we are missing some ability or something. Or an item yet again. Come on, loading, 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 loading.
Welcome back. Aloy, I know your experience in Thebes was unsettling, but we have a new problem.
Did something go wrong with Beta and the rig? Will we be able to transport you to Gemini?
The rig is complete. The problem is Hephaestus itself. It has accelerated its proliferation throughout the Cauldron network, increasing its power.
But with your sub-functions restored, we can still succeed, right?
Correct. But the net effect is that absorbing Hephaestus will take longer than previously calculated.
How long?
Even with Omega clearance, my current estimate is that the merge will take 35 hours.
And each hour increases the risk of detection by the Zeniths. Two cores. 2 overrides. What if the merge were carried out by 2 clones of Elizabeth Sobek, both armed with Omega clearance? How long then? Half the time?
Hephaestus would be unprepared for the simultaneous labor of 2 operators, in addition to obvious synergetic efficiencies. Calculating. It would reduce the merge time to approximately 4.5 hours.
Okay. Varl, it looks like we're gonna need Beta at Gemini. Do you think you can convince her?
I don't know, but I'll try.
What about our diversion? Are the pulse generators ready?
Only a final test remains. I am confident that if fired in proximity to other cauldrons, the pulses will mask our activities at Gemini from the Zeniths.
Good. As long as Aaron can operate one without shooting himself in the face.
Aloy, you better get down here. Beta's in bad shape.
Okay.
Oh, what is it now then? Get the drones down.
There we go. All drones are reconnected to the dome now.
Why can't it ever be easy?
Aloy. I tried, but it's impossible. I don't think anything will convince her to go.
We don't have a choice.
Good luck.
Beta, you have to come with us. It's the only way. It's one mission. The most important one. We need you. Tell me why you won't go. What if they take me back? Alone, in a cell again. Their slave. Forever. Laurel and I will be at Gemini too. I'll protect you. As soon as we get Hephaestus, we'll come straight back here. The Zeniths aren't going to find us. You don't have to be afraid. No! You can't protect me. Nothing can protect me from them. I told you from the beginning, we'll never beat them. It's hopeless.
Can we just slap her now?
Beta. Leave me alone! You don't understand! You're right. I don't understand. We have the same genes, the same mind, the same heart. So why can't you find the strength to do what has to be done? Like Elizabeth would. Don't you think I've thought about that? I don't know what piece of Elizabeth I'm missing. I know what you have that I don't. I look through all the data from your focus. You were raised as an outcast, shunned, and isolated just like me, so what's the difference? What's my defect?
That's the difference.
Beta. You don't have a defect. Beta. Look, it's not a piece of Elizabeth. The difference is, I had him. Frost. He raised you, trained you, but he was never warm or loving. The day he died, the day he gave you that charm, he was going to abandon you. He wanted me to embrace the tribe. But then he gave his life for mine. He loved me in his own way. And that was enough. What did he feel like? It was like having a strength that was always there. It's still there. Even now I hear him in my head when things get bad. When it looks impossible, look deeper. And then fight like you can win. You don't have to go on the mission. We'll find another way. I'll go. You said you'd try to protect me. I believe you. But you have to promise me one thing. Yes, of course. If it goes bad, if the Zeniths find us, I don't want to be their slave again. Do you understand? Okay. Promise? I promise. I could use as much time as you can give me to study up on the merge, to make it as efficient as possible.
I know.
I'll be ready when you are. I swear.
Aloy, whenever you're ready, come speak to me and I'll ask the others to make final preparations for the mission. Hello again, Aloy. Hello, Aloy.
Hey, Gaia. So, me and Beta, I guess you heard what happened.
Yes. I am continuously impressed by the complexity of human relationships. Despite the unpleasant circumstances that led to your quarrel, I am pleased to see you have both found an agreeable resolution.
Well, two heads are better than one, right?
Yes, I believe so. Are you ready to depart for Cauldron Gemini? Or we can continue our conversation, if you like.
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, all archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Faro.
Ted. Guess he got what he deserved, in the end.
Yes. An igneous conclusion to his pathological narcissism, impulsive tendencies, and instability.
All three of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density, empowering my overall function. Unfortunately, as we now know they are in the possession of Far Zenith, attaining them in the short term is very likely impossible.
I guess our best shot at recovering them is by taking over the Zenith base. But we'll need Hephaestus and a bunch of combat machines to do that.
Correct.
Okay.
So, about Beta. I never really saw the difference between us, until now. She's been through so much. Completely alone.
You have both endured many hardships. Different in almost every respect, yet equally remarkable. I like to think of you as two miracles, born of Elizabeth Sobek.
3, then. Let's not forget about you, Gaia. How's all of us settling in?
As soon as she arrived, Alva was eager to study the data in the archive. A particular file soon caught her attention. Information about a machine assistant devoted to keeping living spaces neat and orderly. I informed her that once I am empowered with the abilities of Hephaestus, I may be able to design such a machine.
I'm sure she'll like that. When I set out to find a way to bring you back, I never thought we'd be here, like this. Among friends.
They have all come a long way with their improvised educations. Varl has suggested that one day we might extend this model to more tribal inhabitants, once the biosphere has been stabilized.
Yeah, that's not such a bad idea. As long as you're the one running the lessons. So our plan to capture Hephaestus. Let's go over it again.
As you wish. Thanks to Beta's test, we now know that Hephaestus will not respond to your Alpha clearance.
Which is why I got Ted Faro's Omega clearance.
Correct. While you were gone, Beta constructed the transport rig and pulse generators. When we get to Gemini, I will need to be installed on one of the facility's cores. The second core is for Hephaestus. Using Omega clearance will allow you to trap it.
And then you'll be able to absorb it.
Not quite. You will need to manually remove Hephaestus's malicious code before the merge.
How long will that take?
Because the work will be split between you and Beta, it will take approximately 4.5 hours.
And during that time, the others will create a distraction for us using the pulse generators, right?
Correct. They will each take position at a cauldron door and fire off their device. The energy surge should mask our activities until the merge is complete.
And then we'll have everything we need to defeat the Zeniths. Sounds like a plan. So I, found Thebes. What do you think Ted would have done if his life extension treatments had worked?
It seems he convinced himself it was his duty to guide future humans. Given the tribal nature of new humans, and his ability to use Omega clearance on the terraforming system, I imagine he would have convinced one or more tribes to worship him as their patriarchal deity.
Okay. Yep, glad that didn't happen. Aside from Gaia Prime and Thebes, there was one other underground facility that was sealed before the Pharaoh Plague reached it. Elysium. The place where Zero Dawn staff and their families went to live out their lives. Do you know what happened to it?
Elysium was designed to provide life support for 100 years. My data indicates the facility went offline well before then.
Did the Pharaoh Plague find them?
Unknown. My connection to the facility was abruptly severed.
So what will happen to this place while we're at Gemini?
All systems within this facility will continue to operate. As Minerva will no longer be masking this location, the facility will be exposed to detection. Though without my presence, it is unlikely to attract attention.
Let's hope so. Gaia? What was Elizabeth like?
Her presence is interwoven with my memories. The moment I came online, she was there. We exchanged greetings, names, then set to our task. It was the first of many conversations. I enjoyed being in her company, listening to her stories. She was my creator, my guide.
Your friend?
Yes. When I reviewed the data on your focus, I was saddened to learn of her fate. Though I am glad she made it home. I deeply wish she did not have to be alone.
She was okay with that. She gave all of herself. Did all that she could. Thanks, Gaia. See you later, Gaia.
Until next time, Aloy.
Let's see what... Okay, we have that. What level is it now? 30? Okay, we have some other stuff to do before we do that one then. Looks like we have a side quest to get. Yay! This again. Come on, game. Renji, you stole my floor again. Floor disappeared, so we fell through the.
Why is this door locked
don't
now?
know what.
Beta requested the use of that room as her personal space. I have locked it at her request.
Okay. Oh, looks like I can open that door now. What was this room for, Gaia?
This was intended as a diagnostic center to monitor machine activity in the repair bay below. It appears most of the equipment was damaged, likely from Minerva's control of this facility.
Yeah, she did try really hard to keep me out. Looks like this device connects to that console, but
I've got to be more careful.
it needs power.
Jensen almost caught onto my plan while we were going over the diagnostic center specs. I've got nothing against the rest of the team. It's just... I'm sure they've all got family they're gonna meet up with in Elysium. But me? I couldn't even bury August. There is nothing of him left besides my memories. I won't let those blink out of existence too. The vault's for us, no one else. 11 more weeks before we lock the blueprints.
If you need something.
Then the rest will be up to Gaia.
God damn it. And it didn't save the all that talking they decided that we did.
Welcome back.
Hey, Gaia. I'm back.
So I see.
Okay, no, it saved all that, okay.
I guess I should get going.
As you say. Be well, Aloy.
Okay, so it did save all that. But we have a lot of other quests and stuff to do before we do that one, it seems like. Yeah, I was walking very slow to let to wait for the floor to spawn.
Aloy, may we speak?
No.
Hey, I thought I'd check in before leaving for Gemini.
Are you sure we shouldn't be checking up on you? I mean, whatever went on between you and Beta sounded intense. And not that I'm judging. Forge knows all the screws flew loose every time Mercer and I fought.
I think we'll be fine from now on.
I'm glad to hear it.
Have you spoken with Alva yet?
Yeah, when she's not reading the archives like a giddy kid drinking her first ale. She took to that new focus quick, that's for sure. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. But I can see why you two hit it off.
Anybody take you up on that ale you brought yet?
Zoe can't stand the smell of it. I tried Alva, but I don't think she knows what taking a break means. And I'm not putting Varl anywhere near that stuff after that victory party in Meridian.
What about Catalo?
Ah, now there's a man that can hold his liquor. Pretty sure we downed half a keg. We had a good chat, I think.
You look tired.
Ha! You never want to hold back, are you? I've just been making sure that I got everything down for this mission of yours. I wouldn't want to be the usual screw-up out there.
You'll do fine, Erend. After we get Hephaestus, we'll be taking the fight to the Zeniths. So, no more reading.
Ah, it wasn't that bad. Not really. Besides, going through all that data helped me realize something. You know, the soldiers, the ones that fought the Faro machines so Gaia could be built? They were fighting a battle that couldn't be won. Not with all the weapons in the world. I think most of them realized that, whether anyone said it or not. They still did it, though. They bought time for all the eggheads working to save the future. Our future. As long as I can do that for you, I'll consider myself a success.
Thank you, Erend. I'm glad you're with me.
Yeah, okay, enough. I'm gonna get emotional.
I found out who's running the Sons of Prometheus. A woman named Sarah.
Oh no. Remember how Durval had a band of freebooters that retaliated against the Karja? She was one of them. First female tinker in the claim to run her own forge. But when her family got killed in the Red Raids, she went bad. Real bad. I thought she was dead, though. Taken out by one of Murad's guys.
Well, she's not. And she wants revenge against the Karja. We have to find out where she's operating from, and stop her.
I haven't had any luck finding someone with a focus at chain scrapes, so I'll be scouting out Baron Light next.
I'll keep tracking her lackeys out west.
We'll find her. We have to. It's thugs like her who murdered my sister.
I should go.
Same here. I got a date with a cauldron to prepare for.
Aloy, everything okay with you and Beta? It sounded like you guys had a, lively conversation.
We just had a lot to talk about.
Does this mean she's coming with us to Gemini?
It does. I hope you're ready to rein in the most stubborn AI of all time.
That's what all this was for, wasn't it?
Hephaestus won't go down quietly.
Hephaestus is just a program that's lost its way. We are fighting for our survival. I can always call upon the goddess if you're nervous.
Funny. How does everyone seem to you?
Anxious, but ready. I heard Katalo ask for Alva's help with his pulse generator, and I know he's been helping her with a few fighting techniques, just in case.
I hope they aren't needed.
Like I said, just in case.
Any last findings you want to share before leaving?
Not really, though I've reached a decision.
Oh?
When we put Gaia together, I want to return to the Nora, spread what I've learned.
You think they'll listen to you?
In time, I believe so.
What the heck?
If anyone can make it happen, it's you, Varl. Once Gaia is back up and running, I expect you to put all your training to good use.
The seeds have been planted. All they need is a chance to bloom. What? I thought that was pretty good. Zoe liked it.
I'm glad you and Zoe found each other.
Don't forget, you're to blame for that.
What will you and Zoe do if you go back to the Embrace?
I hope she'll come with me. At least for a while. And I'll go with her to Plainsong too. She'll probably want to talk to her people about all this as well. We'll figure it out.
I know you will. I hope firing off those pulse generators will be enough to distract the Zeniths.
It'll work. It has to.
Always optimistic, huh?
Nah, just stubborn. It's a good quality to have when dealing with you.
Yeah, right. You were right, you know, about keeping Rost's memories buried. I guess part of me thought he was holding me back, because he wanted me to be a Nora. But the truth is, he gave me a lot. And I took him for granted.
He was a good man. He raised you well.
I'm glad you're coming with me, Varl.
Sure there's no urge to run off alone in there somewhere?
No more running.
Right now.
Hey, we'll be going after Hephaestus soon. You good with the plan?
I've already got the location of my assigned cauldron.
Good.
I heard you and Beta had a talk.
News travels fast.
It wasn't exactly a quiet conversation.
There were just things that needed to be said.
A healthy crop to those who clear the weeds between them, as the Utaru say. Oh, I also wanted to give you this. For helping with the land gods. Plainsong is in your debt.
Thank you, Zo.
You deserve much more for all you've done. May the land always bloom in your steps.
And yours? How'd it go with the chorus after we fixed the land gods?
They were shocked when I told them that our lands would soon be on the mend. I thought Fane's eyes would pop out of his head. But of course they had no choice but to take it as good news, even if it meant all their preaching about meekly accepting our doom was exposed as rot. To be honest, I found the conversation to be highly enjoyable.
I'm glad. You deserve it. They're lucky that you never gave up on saving them. You look like you have something on your mind.
We're going to war soon. And war is something I promised myself I'd left behind in the Red Raids. But the more of your data I go through, every voice I hear, every word I read from our ancient past, it makes me realize just how much life was given so that ours could flourish. Fighting for that gift, it's our responsibility. If we fail, it was all for naught.
Helps to know you're not alone.
For a moment there, you sounded like Faro.
I don't know what you're talking about. Read anything interesting lately?
I found out the old ones use leaf infusions like the Utaru do. Tea, they call it. Apparently it helped soothe them. That and some sort of scented wax they used to cleanse their aura. Plus something called bubble baths. I think I'll stick to singing to calm the nerves.
Have you met our new Quen guest yet?
I could barely keep up as she gave herself a tour of the base. Varl gave her a new focus. Though when he told her she was free to access all the data we have here, she turned so pale I thought she'd faint on the spot. We showed her to the archive room so she could see for herself. She hasn't left the place since.
That sounds like Alva. How are things with everyone?
Slightly quieter. Aaron's been busy scouring data on his newest obsession. Apparently the old ones wrestled machines as some kind of performance. Called it metal versus meat. A must-see battle between steel and flesh, as Aaron likes to put it. You'd think we have enough of that going around as it is.
I should go.
As soon as you intend to leave for Gemini,
you'll hear about it.
Aloy!
Right to work, I see.
There's just so much. I mean, we knew of artificial beings that served the ancestors, but Gaia? Oh, she's amazing! And you, a true reincarnation of an ancestor. Genetically speaking, of course, not like the, late CO. And there's more ancestors out there, returned from beyond the stars. Of course, they're trying to kill us, which is not great. And Eric Visser is with them, which is disturbing. And then there's Hephaestus, and...
Okay. How about we take it one step at a time?
You're right. I also owe you an explanation for everything that happened at Landfall. Oh, and if you have a moment, there's something I could use your help with.
I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but They're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same person at all. I mean, you are, as in, you're both genetically Elizabeth Sobek, but even so, you're different.
We grew up very differently. But sometimes different is good.
Yes, of course.
I hope everyone's been treating you okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've all been extremely welcoming. And they share the knowledge they learn on their focuses with each other freely. It's refreshing. Back home, diviners can only share data with the permission from the overseers.
Sounds restrictive and stifling.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
Have you spoken with Zoe at all?
A little bit, but I did hear her singing with Faro not too long ago. I don't think they noticed. Zoe seemed so free when she did it. Like every emotion she had was taking flight in song. And she looked happier because of it. I felt so dull and nervous in comparison.
You should ask Zoe to teach you sometime. About Utaru music.
Maybe.
If you need anything before heading out to the cauldrons.
You have nothing to worry about. Gaia's explained your plan in detail, as expected from such an efficient AI. I've even received some very, succinct combat advice from Kotalo. You know, in case the Zeniths show up.
What kind of advice?
He, told me to run.
For now. We'll even the odds soon enough. I see you've been using your new focus.
It's been fascinating. So much better than the version the Quen have. What would have taken me years to sort through, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search parameters to speed up the process. This could revolutionize how diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the overseers would actually let us study.
You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be remiss to ignore any truth laid before me. Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
Any more data catch your eye?
All of it? I have so much to study up on. Years, actually. I'm particularly interested in the Odyssey. We knew the ancestors had made it to the moon. In fact, we theorized some of them had settled on it. But Sirius is way farther than that. And we thought journeying across the ocean would be the feat of a lifetime. The sheer calculations needed for space travel, it's overwhelming to think about.
Even so, the Quen are way ahead of other tribes when it comes to understanding this stuff. Where I grew up, everyone thought that stars were sparks that rose from a fire lit by the goddess to guide us through the night. You mentioned Eric Visser? How do you know about him?
The Zenith who tried to kill you? He is known to the Quen as the Protector. Combing through data related to his work led us to breakthroughs related to weapons and military tactics. Knowledge our rulers used to conquer and expand, to become the empire we are today. That's why he's one of our most revered ancestors. But based on your encounter with him, it appears he's even more ruthless than we ever imagined. Yet another distorted interpretation in the legacy.
Well, at least you're piecing together the truth.
If only the overseers back home would do the same.
Beta mentioned other Zeniths. Tilda, Verbena, and Gerard.
I'm afraid I don't know anything about them. Whatever legacy they left behind, the diviners haven't recovered.
Must be strange to think that some of the ancestors your tribe reveres are still alive. And here on Earth, right now.
Yeah, it is. Part of me's curious to know who else besides Eric Visser might be among them. Maybe Nikita Arand? We call her the Spark. The legacy tells us she brought unlimited energy to the old ones. Or Sung Jiao, whom we call the Healer. It is said she found new ways to extend the ancestors' lifespans. But my curiosity fades when I think of how different our view of Visser was compared to the reality that you experienced. Perhaps it is better not to know.
Back at the greenhouse, you spoke of knowledge forbidden to your people.
Diviners are meant to seek out the truth in the legacy, and many Imperials sponsor them in the hopes they'll find something the Empire can put to use, thus gaining favor with the Emperor. But the Board of Overseers claims certain truths are detrimental to the stability of the Empire, like discovering one of our revered ancestors ended the world. That is why Diviners are only allowed to access segments of the legacy. Only Overseers can view it all. It ensures that any heretical data can be contained and retrieved before it can spread.
What happens to Diviners who break the rules?
I never had the courage to ask.
You said you owed me an explanation for what happened in Thebes. I'm listening.
Right. I'll start at the beginning with the CO. He was an Imperial, the Emperor's nephew, in fact. As such, he sponsored many Diviners to search the legacy for anything that might help the tribe, and himself. He took a special interest in anything related to Ted Faro, whom we consider the greatest of the ancestors.
Ted Faro, revered ancestor. That's tough to take.
I know better now, of course. Anyway, the Diviners discovered that Faro spent a great deal of time in San Francisco. In fact, many of the most important ancestors did. So the Emperor's nephew convinced him that an expedition across the ocean might solve our most pressing problems. If only we could find the right data in this fabled city. Perhaps we could roll back the floods and storms that threatened our people. The Emperor declared that all the tribe's resources be poured into this endeavor. Dozens of ships were built, scouting missions were dispatched, and the Emperor's nephew was named CO, one who wields the legacy for the good of the Empire. The living embodiment of Ted Faro, the Renewer. It may seem strange now, but for a time, he carried all of our hopes. We really believed he would save us. We had no idea just how perilous the journey would be.
You said the expedition across the sea was more dangerous than you thought it would be. What happened?
We lost most of our ships to hurricanes, and scores of soldiers perished to hunger and disease. And that was before we even hit the coast. Once we landed, machines ripped our patrols apart, and we struggled to replenish our rations. There were bright spots, to be sure. We found Thebes and the greenhouse. But nothing improved the CO's mood as his dreams of saving the tribe were slowly dashed. He became more and more obsessed with Thebes and what lay behind its door. And more convinced that the title of CO was
But you don't have to
more
go through all this.
honorific.
For me, it's
You
just
heard him?
it's interesting.
Spouting nonsense about Pharaoh's
You learn so
essence
much
and
more
some
about
kind
the
of
reason
becoming.
for
We knew
all
these
these
weren't the words of a
events
sane
that
man,
you do
but he
in
was quick
quests.
to put any who spoke out in front of a firing squad.
What a great guy.
The Quen are wrong about many things when it comes to the legacy. I can see that now. But what the CO became was a complete perversion of what principled diviners stand for. The pursuit of truth. I'm sorry you had to endure his madness. I'm just glad it's over. For everyone.
So, Bohai, your overseer. Will he run things better than CO?
He won't execute people on a whim, if that's what you mean. But he's hardly a paragon of integrity. I can't tell you how many times he took credit for data in the legacy that I uncovered. The best thing I can say about him is that he can be trusted to always do what's best for him.
Yep, sounds about right. The ancestors, is that what your people call the old ones?
Yes and no. The ancestors are the greatest of the old ones. Those whose legacy taught us agriculture, medicine, warfare, leadership, and patronage of the science and arts.
The CO called Elizabeth Sobek an assistant. What's that about?
Right. Well, any old one who has made minor contributions or worked extensively under one of the ancestors is called an assistant. That's how we thought of Sobek, until we met you. Our limited access to data past the late 2040s has obviously misinformed our view of the past.
Hey, Robo.
You mentioned the reason you came here was to help your family. Your sister...
Her name is Alika. Our parents are commoners. Peasants, really. When I passed the divination exams, they were so proud. It brought honor to our family and increased rations. Only Alika begged me not to leave for the research academy.
Why? What happens there?
Alika knew that once you enter, you're not allowed to leave or see anyone, not even your family. Unless you can get special permission and an escort by an overseer.
It sounds harsh.
Like the focuses we keep, diviners are few in number, and the Empire is, well, fearful that outsiders will try to steal our knowledge. Last time I was allowed to see my family was just before our voyage here. Because of my position, I was able to get them refuge from the floods within the capital. But if our crops don't recover soon, they'll starve to death along with everyone else.
I promise I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't come to that.
Well, all this talk is optional. Don't have to do it though. Plus, you have a lot of other discussions during when you are doing quests with them and stuff.
You mentioned there was something you needed help with?
Yes. So, as I was sifting through data from the greenhouse, I found references to an old world system back in the Great Delta. It's called Leviathan. My people discovered it decades ago. A sprawling network of river gates and a labyrinth of underground tunnels. The legacy revealed that the old ones used it to control flooding. But we've never gotten it to work. The whole thing is shut down. But the data from the greenhouse mentions the research facility where Leviathan was created. It's in San Francisco.
Another Faro facility?
No. Leviathan was a project by Eileen Sasaki, another ancestor. So the legacy tells us, anyway, if we can acquire that data, we might be able to fix the system back in the Great Delta. Every year, my sister gets terrified when the long rains begin. With Leviathan, maybe she won't have to be.
Okay. So, where in San Francisco is this facility?
That's the thing. The data doesn't say where, exactly. But one of our diviners has been exploring the ruins. He might know. Would you come with me? I have a feeling that wherever this facility is, well, you're much better at fighting machines than I am.
Of course. I'll let you know when I'm in landfall.
Thank you, Aloy.
Hey.
I should go.
Of course. Before you do, is everything all right? It sounded like there was an issue with Beta and the mission.
Not anymore. We just needed to talk.
Oh yeah, you can skip all this though, Robo. You can just go with the mission. Well, the mission
and
option
like
here.
I said, I'll let you know when I'm in landfall.
Lead.
We'll find the data you're after.
I appreciate it.
I just like to get more information about everything. Okay.
Aloy, are you well?
Had a bit of an issue with Beta.
Disadvantage with
It's
skipping
better now,
things.
I'm not surprised.
Really?
Don't worry, CJ, be going to the
Why
next
not?
person.
I once knew a warrior who discovered he had a brother late in life. It was deeply uncomfortable for him.
Did he ever get over it?
In time. But not before the two siblings nearly killed each other in a single combat challenge.
Ah. Well, at least I avoided that. Have you spoken with Alva?
The Quen is peculiar. Nothing like a Tenakth. Her mind is sharp, that much is certain. But it's hard to imagine her surviving in the wilds.
Trust me, she's tougher than she looks.
I will take your
Have
word
a good
for
night,
it.
CJ.
You nervous about the mission ahead?
If I live, it will be in victory. If I die, it will be in battle. What matters most is that you achieve your objective.
I'll do my best. How are your studies going?
I wanted to learn more about the world of the Old Ones.
And?
I looked up this Faro Gaia said you went looking for, and learned about the plague of machines he unleashed. To think that the ancient world was wiped out by a mistake. A single miscalculation. There is no glory or honor in such a fate. Only hubris and pointless death.
That about sums it up. Think you're ready to put all your training to the test?
I am Tenakth. I am always ready.
Hey.
I should go get ready.
I await your orders.
It means we have chatted with everybody. Let's see, quests. One is 30, we have 27. Six. And boop. Long way to. Is there really a wrong answer though, CJ, in that game?
There's Ikota. Ready to hunt some machines.
Aloy, here.